All right, there you have it. We have a person arrested for exercising their First Amendment rights, guaranteed by the Constitution, affirmed by the Supreme Court years ago. Whether you like it or not, flag burning is an expression. It is a symbolic expression. This protest, they have a right to do that. And the Supreme Court affirmed it years ago. But now we have a regime that is intent on revoking our rights. And if they're going to revoke the First Amendment rights, guess what else they can revoke? And they've already done it. They've already revoked rights to due process, rights to fair trial. And they've been after the First Amendment for a very, very long time. They've been after the press. They've been after they want to install a state religion. They want us to shut up. They don't want us to assemble. They don't want us to protest. And I get it. I get why they're afraid of it, because they know that when we come together like this, we're going to choose something else. We're going to choose to have a government of the people, not a government that satisfies the vanity and greed of an evil few. And that's what this fascist regime is doing. And I mean fascism. Definition's coming up right now, and you can see that's what it is. Now, I know that there are people who have already criticized me, saying, well, you know, in New York State, in the rural New York State, this is not what we're talking about, because we need to be able to afford our lives. We need to be able to talk about utility costs. We need to be talking about how we're supporting farmers and agriculture and building businesses and making sure that people are coming to New York State. And you are correct. Okay? We do need to be talking about work. We do need to talk about how we can build our communities. We do need to be talking about how everybody in our society should be able to successfully live the lives that they want, that they choose as their genuine self, with dignity, prosperity, security, and justice. And I've always been talking about it. But the first hurdle on this is making sure that we have a government that supports that mission, that goal. Right now, the federal government has been taken over by people who just don't share that goal. They're in it to have power. They're in it to try to control you. And under that kind of thing, eventually the state government is going to not be able to keep things up. Now, I say that only because we've seen other states where their legislatures have been taken over by the same people who have now taken over the federal government. New York State, we haven't had that problem. We've gone the other direction. We've actually had a Democratic controlled state legislature. All right? The problem with that is that for our area, for this area that I'm trying to represent in the state, the 54th district, it's all Livingston County, Ontario County, Wayne County, the towns of Chili, Mendon, Riga, Rush, Wheatland, and Monroe County. We've always been represented by the opposite, the incumbent, who goes right along with this fascist regime's agenda and is in direct opposition to all the protections that we put in place in New York State. All those efforts that we try to make sure that the state is more affordable, I think it's that people can live their lives. Well, if they get their way, and I hate saying it this way, but if they get their way, things get worse. And I'm trying to make sure that we all have health care. I'm trying to make sure that we all have good education, good training opportunities. I'm trying to make sure that we all have a good living wage. I'm trying to make sure that our businesses feel that they can come here, that they can thrive, that our communities offer people a place where they can grow, raise their families, and enjoy their lives. And I know that we can do that. But the first thing we have to do is overcome this particular challenge. Because right now, under a fascist regime, we're all going to suffer. Things are going to become less affordable. Things are going to become more uncertain. People are going to be fighting amongst themselves over scraps. We can do better. We deserve better. I don't consent to what the federal government has become. And I know that I can do work in the New York State Senate that helps us build those protections for ourselves and creates that society wherein everybody can successfully live their lives.